It's 8 o'clock, and it's great to see you here at the intersection between faith and society, with faith, community, and civic leaders. We've been meeting since, near the beginning of the pandemic, every Thursday except Thanksgiving and the 4th of July when it's on a Thursday. So we've had a couple breaks, but this summer we've been running a series, Be the Neighbor. And it's been updates on the collaborative work, different work in our city that's been happening from different vantage points. We've had things on mental health and emergencies, and of course, resourcing and housing and home. Now we're starting our 3-part series on homelessness, houselessness, and that's today. That's where we are. So I'm wondering to just give our folks a couple minutes to get online here. If there are any announcements of upcoming things that anyone wishes to share.
And
Yes,
this is going
Doug.
to be quick announcement. NAMI San Antonio will have its 17th annual NAMI Walks on September 28th at Morgan's Wonderland. It's a great event. It's always a beautiful weekend, and it's a chance for everybody to come out and support one another and the community to support better mental health. And I'll put that in the chat.
And Doug also shared with me that next year it might be at a different time of year, because they tend to do their 2 big events, Pathways to Hope and this walk, back to back. Instead of taking a breather. So that's probably good news a little bit for everybody. I have an announcement. Oh, Martha Ann has one. Martha?
A group of us are going to Monterrey, Mexico, to the Nobel Peace Laureate Summit. May it be a blessing for the city, because we want to build compassion and peace. Tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 at Incarnate Word General Light, we're having a blessing of this little peacemaking group and a prayer for peace. So I'll put that in the chat, and everyone's invited to join us in prayer for peace and blessing the people going to the Nobel Summit.
Thanks, Martha Ann. Peter has his hand up, and then Ilsa.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Peter Onofre, New Life Christian Center. We'll be having the San Antonio 9/11 Memorial Commemoration at the San Antonio 9/11 Memorial at New Life Christian Center campus. This will be next Wednesday at 9 a.m. And we have Judge Peter Sakai, Chief McManus, Councilman Courage, and the Naval Technical Training Center Commander from Lackland Air Force Base, Christopher Ridge. And it's going to be very solemn, but yet very meaningful with the work we've been doing with resiliency and community preparedness, and making some announcements about the work we're doing in community. So I hope everyone can make it out on September 11th.
Thank you, Peter. That sounds important and exciting that is happening, that kind of community growth as well that will be shared that day. So a great way to remember people who've been lost. Ilsa?
Yeah, I just wanted to say we're having let me put my camera on. I'm so sorry about that. Communities and Schools is having their annual wellness whole childhood community conference on Friday, November the 15th. We hope you can join us. I will drop the link, but it's all centered around wellness in the community. So we hope that y'all can join us. I'll drop the link in the chat. Thank you.
That's exciting too. Yay. What was the date on that again?
Friday, November 15th. We hope to see y'all there. It's always a great conference. So we hope to see you there.
All right. Also email me that information and we'll get that out in the weekly news.
Perfect. I'll get it out to you today. I'm dropping it in there now.
Great. On September 24th, which I'll also put into chat for those and others who haven't been, but we started a summit this summer, Interfaith Summit. It's about the mutual work that we're doing, but how the faith community is working together and how it can best and better work together into the future. So we had 2 parts to that this summer, And we're continuing that conversation on September the 24th, 6 p.m. at Second Baptist Church. And I hope to see all of you there. I'll put that information in the chat. The San Antonio Compassion Institute 24-25 will begin again. That information will be coming your way. If you've not participated in the Compassion Institute before, and going through those practices and skill sets, I really encourage you to do so. No matter who you are, it will benefit you both professionally and personally. This institute, everyone will be picking up a project of their own and working on that and adding compassion to that project systemically. So that information will be coming out as well. It's 8:06, so we're going to jump into our conversation for this morning. And Patrick Steck is with us, my colleague and friend, as well as a fairly new father who gets his son off to school now. And so it's great to have you with us, Patrick.
Thanks,
Let's
Ann.
see, here he is. It's great to see you.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks for having me. So I'll hopefully here share some slides, but I just want to go over some info from our city budget presentation that my boss, our director of Human Services Department, presented to the council last week. A lot of discussion from the Council on Homelessness. It's a big issue in the community. It has been for a long time, but feels like it's an increasing visibility and increasing issue for the council. So let me pull this up. I'll try not to be too bureaucratic.
Patrick is the assistant director in the Department of Human Services, where I serve as well. So thank you for doing this, Patrick.
Okay, is that showing good?
I don't see anything on the screen. It's black. I'm not sure about other people. It was there momentarily. There you are. I see that.
We'll just do this.
That's fine.
You'll get previews. So just real quickly, the department as a whole, as Human Services as a whole department, operates in sort of 5 areas of focus, one being homelessness. And here's the overview with older adults, our senior centers and nutrition programs, our family strengthening programs, which includes some of those programs, benefits navigating, financial counseling, the free tax prep program, Ready Children, which is our Head Start program and early Head Start. The big number there that you see is subsidizes childcare. That's why it's one of the largest budget line items is a federal grant for that. And then Youth Success, so our a little bit older than children group, next level, and is our Youth Opportunity Center. And then all of that is supported by our partnerships with delegate agencies, as well as the faith-based initiative through Ann's great coordinating work across all of these areas. But in the area of homelessness, the media has covered this a lot. $44 million is what the city spends every year on homelessness in direct services to people at risk of or experiencing homelessness. Breaking that down a little bit, you can see we do coordinate a lot. My team works with other agencies. We have our back-end office staff that are paying contracts, that kind of thing. The emergency shelter line is primarily Haven for Hope. The city's invested about $8 million in that, $8.5 million every year. We do encampment abatements. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but clearing the encampments that are around our community. That's money. Most of that money is in the solid waste department for picking up items. Low barrier shelter is the Sam Ministries shelter that operates out of a hotel downtown. So this is a relatively new piece of our homeless response system. We've released a hotel at the Holiday Inn at Cesar Chavez and Santa Rosa for about a year now. It's 200 rooms for people who are coming off the streets, to give them a place to transition, to immediately get off the street, and then work on what's next, a long-term housing plan. And you may be able to hear that my son is not at school. He's still here, but so sorry for that if you hear some baby noises. Our street outreach team is on the streets proactively engaging folks. This is not just our team, but other agencies like Corazon, Haven for Hope, Sam Ministries. We're funding them to engage folks on the street, meet them where they are, and try to get them engaged with services to support them in their journey towards housing. Permanent supportive housing is relatively new as well. That's actually building new housing units and then coupling that with supportive services. So this is a longer term intervention for folks, primarily who've been on the streets the longest, to give them housing that they need to stay stable. Homeless prevention is actually for folks who are housed and keeping them where they are with a little bit of assistance. It's a lot more cost effective. It's a lot less traumatic for the folks who are at risk of homelessness to stay where they are, rather than having to access a shelter or go through a whole new move, that kind of thing. So homeless prevention, we have money allocated for that. And then rapid rehousing is another way of getting folks off the street or out of shelters and into housing quickly with supportive services. On the right side, you'll see that a lot of this money is funded by ARPA and HOMARP. So those are acronyms that basically mean they're federal dollars coming to San Antonio through legislation that came out of COVID. And so these are COVID response dollars that we're deploying in the community. That money does go away after a few years, and a lot of that money is going towards that SAM low barrier shelter. We hope to have permanent supportive housing units built and ready for a lot of those folks to move to out of that shelter, because we know that money is going away. The general fund is local dollars, sales tax, property tax dollars. The solid waste fund is from your trash bill, and it goes towards solid waste operations. And then federal grants, those are more stable, long-term funding that we've had in our community. We get asked a lot about what we're doing and how well we're doing it. And so this slide shows some of our performance measures. So the number of people served at that low barrier shelter, that's the Sam Ministries Hotel. And this year we're estimating it'll serve about 325 people. There are at the January point in time count, we counted about 888 people who were living on the streets at one point in time in January. So we are serving a decent proportion, but we know we're not getting to everyone. And that number changes. Folks come in and out of homelessness regularly. But 325 is the number we're looking to serve. That shelter started a little ways into the fiscal year, so we're looking to serve more folks in the upcoming fiscal year. And about a third of them are moving on to permanent housing. Some of them are still accessing the shelter. They need more time. And some of them just return to the street. And we hope to engage with them later. And we hope to get them back into the system and working on a plan of housing. A little bit about coordinated shelter. This was a new thing since we have so many more street outreach workers on the street in the last few years. One thing that they were telling us was that when they have someone who says they're interested in shelter, it takes a lot of time to start calling Haven for Hope, calling Sam Ministries, seeing where they can get them in, seeing where they're eligible. And at some point you might lose the person. They might say, forget this is taking too long. I'm not interested anymore. We're trying to avoid that. And we're also trying to get our street outreach workers back on the streets. So we started this system with Haven where they keep track of all the beds. It's one simple phone call, a quick yes or no, and within 2 hours, that person is from their encampment at the door of a shelter with a bed reserved for them. It makes it a lot more streamlined. We've gotten about 500 people into shelter that way, and it's helped everyone in the system. Our street outreach teams are engaging over 1,000 people. Our homeless hotline got 48,000 calls this fiscal year. Some of that is because our rental assistance was going through that hotline. So we kind of spiked the numbers there. We think it'll go back a little bit lower next year. We are continuing to track veterans as a specific population. And our system housed 560 veterans this year, and we look to do a little bit more. Actually, this slide is a little outdated next year. So our homeless response is really governed by a strategic plan that we're in the 4th year of what was anticipated to be about a 5-year plan. So we will look at updating that next year. But our strategies within that strategic plan for our upcoming years to continue our housing options, continue that shelter coordination program, continue looking at low barrier shelter options, meaning there's no prerequisite of service, there's no prerequisite of sobriety. We'll take folks into these shelters, and that's like the San Ministries Hotel. 72 new units of permanent supportive housing coming online. These are things like Town Twin Village, if you're familiar with that. Sam Ministries building more units in existing apartments, and they're building from the ground up on the south side a new one that will actually come online more in 2026. Our youth homeless system, that's one of our strategic plan priorities. We're looking at a youth provider summit in October, because in the youth and young adult space, we hear so often folks are kind of aware of what one another are doing to prevent or help our young folks who are already experiencing homelessness. Many of them have come out of the foster care system. Many of them are LGBTQ. Some of them have been involved with the justice system. So we looked at those specific populations, and we're going to bring a lot of folks together on October 8th. Ilsa, I know CIS, I believe, is represented. So we're looking forward to that. And coming out with some recommendations. The San Antonio Housing Trust is engaged, and I hope to build something literally out of this summit, because we know we hear a lot about housing for youth as well. Reducing family homelessness. So this is a challenge that Haven for Hope is continuing to see. A lot of families, typically on any given night, there's about 300 children at Haven for Hope, part of family units there. The biggest strategy there is preventing that from happening in the first place through those prevention programs, or diverting them with a small amount of assistance, getting vouchers into the hands of families and getting them into units faster, and using our rapid rehousing dollars. That's what we're working on for the upcoming fiscal year. I'll also hit real quick on these numbers on the right side. These are on our community dashboard. You can get that through the San Antonio.gov website. But the key takeaways from this is it really shows that the need and the flow of our homeless system, that I'll look at the number in the middle. 2,399 people became homeless or returned to homelessness in less than a year in San Antonio. So the homeless number is not a static number. It's not like one number that we can chip away at. It's folks coming into and out of the system. And fortunately, we are moving folks out of the system and into better living situations. That's that first number. A total of 3,700 people that we've moved into shelter or housing, who came from the street or from a shelter. So that we're making progress. We're showing that that number is bigger than the number coming in. That's good. We want to see that. But we do have to continue that work every day to continue meeting folks who are facing homelessness for the first time. I'll touch on encampment abatements. A lot of media coverage on this, but when there is an encampment, it often is posing a health or safety issue for the neighbors and for the people who are living in that encampment. So we set a target of 700 cleanups or abatements this fiscal year. We're going to exceed 1,100. There's been a lot of calls, a lot of demand for this in the community. We partner with solid waste to provide outreach. We provide notification that this is going to happen. And we're always trying to connect folks to services at each touch and each interaction where we're involved with that. The solid waste crews took out over 2,500 tons of debris. A lot of that is from drainage ditches and drainage facilities across the community. And next year, we're looking to actually do even a little bit more and ensure that our response time is within 14 days. So calling 311 is the way that we get most of those calls and how we track our response time. This one is not quite, there it goes. One other thing, we had a lot of pandemic response programs. We started a homeless response hotline. We started a benefits navigating program to help people sign up for things like rental assistance. And then NHSD, our Neighborhood and Housing Services Department, started a rental assistance program all during COVID. We're going to take a look at that. We're in the process of looking at all those programs. They are permanent and baked in now to our community response system. They're funded by city funds, but we're using some technology upgrades. We're combining these teams under one org chart, at least of the DHS portions, to make our homeless hotline even more robust. So a lot of folks have the phone number for the Homeless Connections hotline. We try to market it, but we're going to make it even more comprehensive, adding more folks to it with more experience. We can talk about that later if anyone's interested. And then I'll hit on this too. There was an article this morning in the San Antonio Report on our mobile shower program. We operated it for about 5 years. It's not as mobile as it was intended to be. It can be moved by a trailer hitch, but it often, if we hit a bump the wrong way in the road, a pipe would break or something like that. And so we've spent a lot of money fixing it. It's been offline. It was a great idea to engage folks on the street. We want people to have showers, of course, but it's been operationally a challenge. And so you can read more about that. Iris Dimmick wrote an article in the San Antonio Report, but we are proposing that for a reduction in the budget. Cam and Corazon on the Grace Lutheran campus have more shower stalls available. They don't break nearly as often. And we have vans. We can get folks there if they're looking for a shower. We had partnered over the last few years with 2 congregations, Harper's Chapel and Jacob's Chapel on the west and east side, respectively, to bring that trailer out there, have a community fair. Those community resource fairs will continue, so we'll have that engagement with folks. They just won't have the shower. So that is my presentation. I can stop sharing and have a conversation, answer any questions.
Thank you, Patrick. A lot of information, right? We can all agree on that. A lot of information, a lot of work, effort, committed effort going into this work. And so, yeah, we'll open it up for questions. Oh, look, Kenderly has a question. Kendra.
Hi, I'm going to stop my video because I'm getting ready for work right now. So, first of all, as the person who navigated the homeless systems here in San Antonio, even being somebody who's native San Antonian, I came from the farm in Iowa. I was really inspired by the innovation, the humanity, the amount of care and attention at that time, which was right at the beginning of COVID, to this problem, and how COVID brought to light the ways that we can really solve this problem by putting more effort into it. Haven for Hope is where I went.
Are you still there, Kendra? We don't hear you, or I don't. Are you okay?
If people are willing to and not forcing them is just amazing. And I just want to thank the city of San Antonio so much for caring so much about this population. It's truly innovating the service and the compassion across cities all in America. I really love being a part of what we do here. So thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. Mhm.
And Kendra, tell us quickly, where are you working? I know this answer, but I think it's part of the story today.
I started my career in service because I had farmed my whole life and specialized in
And you're blipping out.
animal husbandry. So I had never lived in a city. And can you hear me now?
Yes.
West Care, Texas is where I'm at now. Started my career in service through AmeriCorps.
So you've been doing
At
this work,
that
right?
station at West Care, Texas, in that I've been there now for 4 years now. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your service towards the greater good in San Antonio. I appreciate that too. I didn't realize that we were both farm girls from one of the I states. So, high five to that, right? I'm also wanting to share, until we get somebody else's hand or comment, that there have been conversations since the budget presentation, which was a week ago. And I appreciated the mayor's comments at that budget presentation, where he kind of stepped back and took a look at a bigger picture across the country and this community concern, and how other communities are also struggling. And we seem to be getting the greatest, leverage and stride on it, and to be able to see that in a larger context. But we all know at the intersection that, it also is, how do we put ourselves into it? How can we be a part of that solution? And so it's gotten me thinking. One thing that I'm going to be doing is surveying congregations to see what congregations across the city have showers. And if there's some way that we could set up shower spots across the geography. I do know, and some of you know through the Office of Sustainability, that they have been doing some smaller grants around, not showers, but around the environment and things like that, that they've been giving out to the community. So we're looking at, if there are showers, because I know there are congregations that already have showers, not all of them, but there are some. And could there be some way that the city could help with those showers, fix them up, or whatever might be needed, some smaller grants to do that, but we could have shower spots across the city in congregations. The other program, if that's the right word for it, but the other initiative that was utilized at Haven, I don't know, a good decade ago, but also now it's being utilized with like immigrants and refugees, is a companioning effort between a congregation and a family. It could be individuals, but there is a lot of focus on the family, so that congregations partner one-to-one, maybe with a family that's experiencing houselessness and needs that support. We all know that there is a solution. And the solution, always, the critical element, is relationship. In whatever we're talking about, whether it's a young person growing up, right, strong and healthy, to a family that's trying to get their feet on the ground and a place to live, the really key element is a relationship, at least one relationship that really cares. And so how can we do that? It's kind of it takes time. We all know that, but we also know that that is the real key element. And all the resourcing that we do is great. And also relationships are built through that resourcing, and it can make a difference. We know that that is the thing that makes a difference. So that's two of the things that I'm looking at right now, and you'll all be hearing more about. But is there some way that we can, and this is the compassion move, that we can tweak the system in somewhat small ways. So shower spots and congregations that are willing to partner, can we tweak that? And could that possibly, will make a difference? And so we're working on that. And I want you to know that. It's 8:30 and we're going to take a pause, but Patrick did such a wonderful job. I don't know if we have other questions or not, but we're going to take a pause. For those who need to leave at this moment and get on with the day, thank you for being with us. We have 2 more weeks that's going to be around this conversation and community concern. Next week, we're going to have someone else, Kathy, who works with the same department as us, but works on the community, the outreach with those without shelter in their lives, as well as Pastor Vincent from Harper's Chapel, one congregation, one location that is very active in this kind of work. So we're going to be hearing from them. And then the following week, we're going to be hearing from Katie Wilson, who's the CEO of, it's now called Close to Home. Used to be Sarah, the San Antonio Regional for Homelessness. But they're the ones who manage all of the federal grants that help this work in our city. And so she'll be with us in 2 weeks. So I hope you come back for the next 2 weeks. And right now I see that the chief has his hand up. So we have at least, Patrick, are you able to stay a couple minutes? Okay, great.
All right, cool. My name is actually Christopher Walden. I am a second chair AmeriCorps Public Ally serving at West Care, Texas as well. I serve with Kendra Carpenter as well. So I had a question because, well, I mean, I guess just a little background on who I am, because I also participated in the city's homelessness program, or the homeless program, which they, I want to say, I'm trying to remember the name, but it's not coming straight to me off the top of my head. But they helped me get into my apartment. They paid for 6 months of my apartment. But I've been living in my apartment for over a year now, so it's been very good to me. I was also born and raised here in San Antonio. And my question was specifically, I saw that in the chat you had put a link to the Compassion Institute, and I really wanted to be a part of that. But my thing is, I do not have the $100 to pay to participate in that program, and I kind of like all my money is kind of spoken for, because like I'm doing school outside the Public Allies and I just have a lot of stuff going on. So I was like, I wonder if there like any type of program or organization that would help like foot that bill so I could be a part of that program, because that's something that I'm really interested in.
So for everyone, I'm putting my email in chat and the answer is yes. So there are scholarships and you just contact me at that email and we'll make it happen. We'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. I'm saving that email and I will be in contact with you. Thank y'all so much. I'm glad to be a part of this meeting. Thank you, Kendra, for sending over the link. Kendra sent out the link to West Care, all the West Care participants. So she made it possible for us to be here this morning. So thank you so much. Thank y'all. And just, yeah, I hope to be able to participate with y'all in community in the future. Thank you.
Oh. That made my morning. Yay. Anything else? Any comments or questions? I'm going to invite everybody to open up their mics. I'm getting lots of love, and San Antonio is too. Thanks, Kendra. But invite everybody's mic to come open, and we just do a mutual thank you for Patrick taking the morning and stepping in with very short notice to do an excellent presentation. And what I love about the work that we're doing together is that we're seeing more, right, of what the city does at this intersection, but we're also seeing more of what the community does, and the city sees that. So that's the way we become community, by being more transparent, by being, like, it's always all available, but we don't know how to get our hands on it. So everyone together, thanks, Patrick.
Hey, thanks, Patrick.
Patrick.
Enjoyed it. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Thank you.
You too.
Thanks, everyone, for being with us today, and we'll see you next Thursday at the intersection. Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you all. Appreciate
Give
it.
that baby a kiss and hug. For me, at least.
I will.